here in the Transgender District, Brianna. We're talking about placemaking, the first only transgender district in the world. What's happening right here on Golden Gate?
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor. It's really good to see you. Thank you for visiting us here in the district. My name is Brianna McCree, Co-Executive Director of the Transgender District, here with Carolina and Carlo and Orhan, who is the owner of 64 Golden Gate Parking Garage, who has donated his garage space to the district for placemaking and murals. We will have murals of trans artists, trailblazers, and activists, and on the inside we will house murals of our local sports teams, the Giants, the Valkyries. Support this initiative as we help build San Francisco to revitalize the mid-market corridor.
Let's go. Thank you all for your leadership, and I can't wait to see this get painted. It's going to be beautiful right here on Golden Gate.
I'm Carolyn Barasenko. I'm an analyst and independent journalist covering the far left in America, and you hear me say it all the time. Trans and queer are not the same thing. Trans and queer are not the same thing. Queer is a militant far left political ideology. Well, let's talk about San Francisco's new transgender district. Are they trans or are they queer? Well, if we look into it a little bit more closely, we find out that this new transgender district is named after the Compton's Cafeteria Riot. And if you refer to my favorite queer Marxist document, Towards the Queerest Insurrection by the Mary Narney Gang, they actually write about Compton's Cafeteria Riot in the appendix of the document, talking about how it took place 3 years before Stonewall. Stonewall, considered to be the major kickoff of the gay rights movement. Compton's Cafeteria Riot was the first militant queer riot that took place in the country back in 1966. It wasn't really documented at the time. The police didn't really document it. And so the only people really who know about Compton's Cafeteria Riot are people who swim in queer Marxist subcultures.
All right, guys, on this episode of Far Left Democrat Shenanigans, we have San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie, who is celebrating the opening of the Transgender District in San Francisco. Yes, there's a whole district dedicated to transgender people in San Francisco. Now, the interesting part about all this is that this transgender district just so happens to be in one of the worst slums in San Francisco, right? And I want to talk about this because, again, I think this just shows you the priorities of the Democrat Party, what they really care about when, again, there are much more pressing issues, but they're taking their time, energy, and also tax dollars supporting this type of stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Well, in honor of Transgender History Month, a new book is shining a light on the rich history of San Francisco's Transgender District. Author and activist Reverend Dr. Megan Rohrer traces over a century of trans presence in the Tenderloin. Lauren Tom shows us how this history is being preserved and why it matters today.
In the heart of San Francisco, Reverend Dr. Megan Rohrer unearthed the lineage of transgender history that's long thrived in San Francisco.
Reverend Doctor who? Reverend Doctor who? Again, what's going on here? Reverend Doctor. Interesting titles.
And in it, a community that felt like home.
Finding people in old-timey photos made me feel a little bit more seen and present today. Like I wasn't inventing a new thing for myself.
Again, hold on. Reverend Dr. Megan Rohrer. I don't know what's going on here, right? Somebody clue me in. What is going on here? Okay. Who apparently is an author and an activist. I'm trying to figure out where the reverend comes from, right? What church does this individual preach at? I mean, I've seen some strange things in this country over the past few years. So, I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, these are the type of characters that, we have here.
A little bit more seen and present today. Like I wasn't inventing a new thing for myself.
Today, Megan walks among the world's first legally recognized transgender district that spans parts of Market Street and the Tenderloin.
You see Market Street in the view from the Oddfellows Temple, which is right behind us. And So on these corners is a place where the 1906 earthquake destroyed a lot of stuff, including that vaudeville theater. It paved the way for trans people to kind of move into some of that housing.
The history that can be felt among these blocks echoes for centuries.
There is an old, very exciting history of trans community and joy that spans all the way back to the 1800s.
Megan is now bringing that history to light in a new book with the hope of making trans history accessible and offering a storied family tree to today's trans community.
My goal is that these photos will be so much more accessible for anyone who's looking for them, either at a public library where they check it out or at a local bookstore where they can keep it as their own, but they don't have to travel the country to different archives to find these really historic photos.
But this
These people think they're so important, right? They think they're so important, okay? Hey, we got to have our own district where you can celebrate us and our culture. Look at me, right? Celebrate my sexuality, right? Celebrate how I feel about my genitalia. Yeah, I mean, it's very fascinating stuff. Very fascinating.
history doesn't only live in his book. It comes to life through the voices of trans elders, like Miss Billie Cooper, a veteran who lived through San Francisco's underground trans scene and never stopped being unapologetically herself.
But I found out about men from all over the world, all different flavors.
Okay.
And I was there, I had a smorgasbord. That was the first bar I went into. Back then I had a beard, a mustache, and I used to wear a veil.
For many, these aren't just stories. They're a guiding light. In a time when trans rights are under fire, these stories mark a blueprint for hope and resistance.
There's not a day I leave my house where I don't wonder where I can go to the bathroom, if I can go to the bathroom, and if I will be safe in those spaces. And I wish it was a safer world. And so sharing stories amongst other trans people has been the way to try to stay as safe as possible.
He's hopeful the stories, the lessons in this book and in these streets won't just preserve history, but ensure the next generation won't have to search so far to find themselves.
Wow. Wow. This guy lives in San Francisco, or I don't know. I honestly don't know if this individual's trans or what. But this person, right? I have no clue what this person's biological sex is. Okay, so I'm just going along with what the news say. Okay, but you know, you live in San Francisco. If you're oppressed in San Francisco, right? If you feel unsafe in San Francisco, I feel like that's a you problem, right? Like, I mean, seriously, how is it that in the most far left parts of the country, again, there's nowhere else in this country where you have a transgender district, right? How is it that in the most far left parts of the country, these people are saying, well, we feel unsafe, right? I don't know if I can go to the bathroom without, feeling unsafe. And I'm like, well, again, if you look at who's committing the violence towards trans people, it's other trans people or people who tend to hang out with trans people, right? The violence is not coming from far-right Christian nationalists or anything like that. That's not the problem for, transgender individuals, right? When you talk about trans violence, again, a lot of it, again, comes within their own community of individuals that they hang out with, right? And also other random crimes as well, too, that have nothing to do with them being trans, right? If you feel unsafe, then it's probably an issue with the city, right? It's probably an issue with fighting general crime, not you being trans, right? Again, you're in San Francisco. Where else on earth are you going to feel comfortable if you don't feel comfortable in San Francisco? But again, the reality is that nothing will ever be enough, right? This district is not enough. Next thing you know, they'll be asking for their own town, and they'll be asking for their own city, and then their own state. They'll want their own state. If you don't allow a trans state, right, a trans safe place, a whole state, then you're transphobic. Now, what they're actually really celebrating is militant political activism, right? That's actually what they're celebrating here, right?
Today, San Francisco celebrated a major moment for the city's transgender community. This month marks 59 years since the Compton's cafeteria riot. NBC Bay Area's Alyssa Gord explains why that act of resistance is now a rallying point for a new fundraising effort.
San Francisco's Transgender District threw a Reparations is a Riot party featuring pulsating music and a star-studded cast with faces you might recognize from RuPaul's Drag Race.
We'll have a good time with community and just celebrate the resistance of the 1966 Compton's Cafeteria riot.
Back in 1966, Compton's Cafeteria in San Francisco's Tenderloin was a place where many trans and queer people would hang out. One night, a trans woman reportedly was being harassed by police there when she threw her coffee at an officer, and others in the cafeteria joined her in fighting back.
During that uprising and subsequent to that uprising, there was changes made here in the city of San Francisco that then helped elevate and to center some of the needs that our community most needed at the time.
59 years later, San Francisco is honoring that history through dance and community.
And this celebration comes just as the Transgender District is trying out a major new fundraising effort.
This week, the Transgender District launched a new Riot Fund named for the Compton's Cafeteria riot.
Many trans organizations at the federal level, at the state level, and at the local level are really struggling right now for funds. And a lot of this is stemming from the fact that we're being used as a wedge issue by the federal administration.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. You're struggling to fundraise because, hey, maybe just maybe, the support that was there because a lot of these corporations thought that, hey, it'd be a good idea to support all these woke movements, right? And when it turns out that supporting those woke movements was not popular, that's when the money dried up. I mean, we saw the issues during the Pride parades, right, where you had all these pride organizations saying that they were struggling to raise money from corporate America. Well, I mean, again, I think part of the reason why is because a lot of people in America have realized that, hey, a lot of this stuff is getting into territory that people did sign up for, right? I think that's what's happening here. Again, now we have a whole transgender district. Now, again, this is while in this same district, this same part of town, the Tenderloin, this is one of the most homeless districts in San Francisco. It is the most homeless district. I believe 60% of the homeless are in this one district. So essentially, they made one of the largest slums in San Francisco, the Transgender District, right? So instead of focusing on their failing efforts to clean up homelessness, right, and crime, no, they're busy focusing on making the district a trans-cultural district, instead of actually, cleaning it up and dealing with the real issues.
Among residents and business owners who have seen their neighborhoods in disarray.
ABC 7 News reporter Leanne Luned is here right now in studio with us to give us a snapshot of the current situation. What is going on in the Tenderloin? Improvement or no?
I would say the progress is slow.
AKA, they're not making any progress. Right? If anything, it's probably getting worse. Like all of these little projects from the left, when they try to fix these problems never actually get fixed because it's a bunch of money that goes into these liberal nonprofits, and these liberal nonprofits don't solve the problem, because if they actually solve the problem, if they actually, cleaned up the city, then they wouldn't be getting money, right? So again, San Francisco has poured a lot of money and efforts into removing these homeless encampments, but for whatever reason, it's not working, right? It's not working.
Okay, so it was the U.S. Supreme Court that allowed San Francisco to resume these sweeps. In 1 month, more than 1,300 people have been approached offering to help them. Now, we know people don't jump at the opportunity to go to a shelter, and that's why this effort may take longer than anticipated.
On August 1st, the city began taking a more aggressive approach towards people who camp outdoors on San Francisco streets, particularly in the Tenderloin neighborhood where many of the unhoused congregate.
It's now September, so how's it going? We came down here to find out for ourselves without anybody from any city department leading us. We'll find what we find.
Just by walking around the neighborhood, we noticed that conditions here have not changed that dramatically. It appears that there are just as many unhoused people today as before, but fewer tents and structures. Here are the numbers from the Department of Emergency Management. 735 tents and structures have been removed in the month of August. Meanwhile, crews from the Department of Public Works, with the help of police, continue to remove trash and ask people to pick up and leave in order to clean the street.
Right. Hey, they get a power wash real quick. I don't want you to get wet, all right?
On average, it takes this kind of manpower between 45 minutes to an hour to sweep and clean just one side of the street. That's if people are willing to cooperate.
Now, keep in mind, there was no choice when Xi Jinping came to town, right? Y'all remember when Xi Jinping came to town in San Francisco? They cleaned the city up like that, right? Now they're pretending like, oh, well, you know, these homeless people got a choice, right? And a lot of these people not going to move, right? So you're like, hey, we're going to ask you nicely to move. They're not moving. And that's why there's no real progress being made, right? So again, you know, they've been trying to clean it up, but they're not really putting in a good effort to do so because they're not forcing people to leave. So again, they're not concentrating, okay, on the things they need to concentrate on. As you can see where their mind is at, right? Look at the flags, right? This is what they're focused on. They're more focused on that, okay, than actually really cleaning up the city the way that it needs to be cleaned up.
It's 10:50 in the morning, and city workers, 7 of them, are waiting for that one single tent to move. They've been waiting for 20 minutes. The clock is still ticking.
While crews worked around the tent, the person inside slowly emerged. It took an hour. Since the sweeps began, San Francisco has taken a more service-first approach, offering people shelter. The woman who owns the tent, Gretcher, told us she has yet to be cited for camping on the street.
Have you been offered shelter?
As far as what?
Shelter, a place to stay.
Like for a homeless person?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They offer me, but, you know, I'm not applicable for, you know,
You're not what?
I'm not applicable for a homeless shelter.
Why not?
You take advantage of those when you need it.
Arif El Ghali, a business owner, said nothing has really changed.
Now, somebody tell me, what's wrong with making people like this pick cotton? I'm so serious, bro. I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with making people like this. This is an able-bodied woman. Let's be real. Why can't she pick cotton? Why do we need illegals when we got individuals like this? All these homeless people, they all should be picking cotton. Let's be real. Let's be real. Unhoused person here don't want to go in a shelter, right? Don't want to get off the streets. Okay, just wants to stay. Able-bodied. Why is this individual not working? Why they ain't got no job? Right? Probably receiving a stipend too from the government. Again, I'm trying to figure out why can't this person pick cotton? Why can't we use this cheap labor? I'm still trying to figure that out. People say that's mean, that's cruel, that's wrong. No, I'm just saying I just think there's a lot wrong with this, right? This should be an optional. The problem is they're being too nice. They need to be tough. No, you got to leave. And if you don't leave, then hey, whatever happens, right? At the end of the day, you don't belong here. You can't be here. Okay? These liberals don't know how to actually get anything done.
Why not? You take advantage of those when you need it.
Arif El Ghali, a business owner, said nothing has really changed.
They want to be always in the street. So I don't know what the benefit of that. Maybe in the residing shelter, they are not allowed to do what they are doing outside. And I think this is the main problem.
Do you see them offering them any help?
Always.
According to city data, in August, only 202 people accepted shelter, while 1,127 refused any help.
Wow.
As far as we can tell, the work is frustrating for the crews and physically and emotionally hard on the unhoused.
Wow. Yeah. So you guys get the gist of this, right? This place is a slum, but hey, at the very least, it's a trans district. Apparently, trans people feel more safe, right, in places like this that are homeless slums, okay? Yeah. I think that the priorities, again, for these Democrats are out of line, right? Like, you have a neighborhood that is a slum, and you're more focused on turning it into some, woke diversity, cultural thing, rather than actually cleaning it up, getting these people off the streets, okay? You can't ask these people nicely. You got to force them off the streets. You got to get them off the streets. Because, again, if you give them a choice, they go stay. They go stay. The problem is they got a choice. That's the real issue. So yeah, I mean, you know, again, just one of these stories that I find to be fascinating coming out of these liberal cities, only in a liberal city in America. It really is one of these things that Democrats are not going to be able to get away from. They're never going to be able to shake the woke stigma at this rate, right? If they continue to openly support this type of stuff. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.